All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. We are so grateful that you all came. My name is Elise Edwards, and I am the Police District Council person for the 11th District, which is where you are sitting right now. One of the very first things that I wanted to do is to do this gun violence prevention conference. And then after that, we're going to do a whole year-long safety plan. This all came from Dr. Batts, to be honest. This is, I'm one of the CLF fellows as well, and he was one of our guest speakers, and he was like, why can't you do it? And I'm like, I don't know, I actually can. So, you know, he worked with me, and we got this thing going, and you are all here. So I wanted to let you all know, I'm sorry, y'all. Same face from New York, but I'm going to screw some amens and hallelujahs. I'm sorry. I do want to say this. The work in which I am doing in the community, I am called to do the work in which I'm doing. I didn't just apply for a role and let's go for it. I was placed here. I feel like it was a divine, placement that the Lord put me here. And I'm operating from two scriptures. The first scripture really is that every place that the soles of your feet shall tread, I'm going to give that to you. And it's not that, again, that we're just taking a walk. It's not everywhere you walk, but everywhere that you decide, no. No more in our community, no. Everywhere you bend the vote, that literal word is everywhere that you decide, I'm fighting for this, then I'm going to give that to you. But you got to take it. So we've got to possess the land. And so that's what we're doing. The Gun Violence Prevention Conference is going to give you some good words, some good advice, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to get out here into this, in the streets and in our community. I'm going to also bring up Lieutenant Harris, who's going to say a few words and then introduce Dr. Batts, which is our keynote speaker.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jermaine Harris. I currently serve as a lieutenant with the Chicago Police Department, but most importantly, I'm a proud West Sider. Elise and I are going to help move the day forward and provide you a few announcements along the way. But what I want everyone to do, if you have a program on your table, you should have a program there. If you open it up, there's a QR code on it. Go ahead and pull those phones out and take a photo of that QR code. Have a flip phone, just a little bit to understand our keynote speaker, Dr. Batts here. I'll give you a little bit of his bio. Dr. Batts is a survivor, healer, son, father, grandfather, brother, husband, and friend. In addition, Dr. Batts is a tri-sector leader, philanthropist, author, community epidemiologist, community-based participatory researcher, and leading expert on trauma-informed care, re-entry, and community engagement. Locally, nationally, and globally, Dr. Batts continues to increase the imprint and impact of grassroots community voices through tri-sector collaborations between business, government, and nonprofit leaders. Dr. Batts is a Fulbright specialist, Writer Pool Collective Impact Fellow, and distinguished Robert Wood Johnson Culture of Health Leader alum, appointed by two governors as a commissioner on the Governor's Advisory Commission on African American Affairs. He is Vice President of the Governor's Public Safety and Gun Violence Commission and was appointed by Governor Wolf as a thought leader and trauma-informed care expert to the Adult Behavioral Health Commission. Dr. Batts holds a joint MSW from North Carolina A&T and the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, a postgraduate certificate in global health and doctorate in health services from Nova Southeastern University, and a strategic perspectives and nonprofit management certificate from Harvard Business School. So let's welcome from Pennsylvania. Let's give him a Chicago welcome, Dr. Hassan Batts, sir.
I'm excited to be here, man. And so what Lieutenant Harris didn't tell you is he's the reason that I'm here. We met via Zoom, we had heard about the work. We talked on the phone a couple times. They were looking to start a leadership program. And I was, I'm going to say, a huge abolitionist. I was like, we need a community without police. Until I met this man, and he made me really begin to rethink what does policing look like with this love centered in our community. And we started to do some work together around his leadership work, and it's just changed my life, man. So thank you, brother, for introducing me, for having me. I want to start with us taking a breath, right? And it's so, central nervous systems are disrupted. I mean, we don't take a moment to breathe. We don't take a moment to be in a place. And I look around this room and I see all this beauty, but I also know I'm sitting in a space that there's a lot of trauma. You know, and we can relate to that. And in order for us to make healthy decisions, in order for us to learn, in order for us to be in community together, because that's what we're really about to talk about. There's nothing I can teach the West Side of Chicago about coming together and doing this work. There's nothing I can teach you. What we're going to talk about is how do we do this work together, and how do we get the people that have the resources to relinquish power. That is what this whole conversation is about. It's relinquishing power. So I want to start with just 2 breaths, and you can entertain me, all right? Everybody all right with that?
Yeah.
And we had a breakthrough, man. Where's the sister at that? Thank you for having us. When we have the keys, things are different, right? That's the goal. We have the keys. All Lisa had to do was make a phone call, and she said, I got a breakthrough. And she was so excited to be here. So we're going to start with 2 breaths. We're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe in community, healing, wellness, resiliency, and we're going to breathe out doubt, jealousy, hatred, all the things that prevent us from moving forward and saving our children from dying. All right? 2 breaths, all right? Follow me. We're going to breathe in. Y'all know how to do this. We do it all the time. We're going to be very intentional with this one. Because that's what we're going to talk about. How are we intentional in what we do every day, and the spaces that we do. So just take a couple breaths, 4 counts, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. In. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so this is not going to be hokey, as they say, or kumbaya. That's not what we're going to do. The only other thing I need is we are people to call response. So when I say we are, we're going to see who's got this. I'm going to say we are, and I need you to respond with.
We are medicine.
What's the name of the conference? We are?
We are our own medicine.
We are our own medicine. We're going to say that throughout the day. All right, at least throughout the day, we're going to say we are our own medicine. So that means you have everything inside to accomplish what we need to accomplish to make sure that our children live and have lives when they thrive. I got a video I wanted to start with, right? Because again, I am not here to tell you how to do things in Chicago. I'm here to tell you how to do things in a medium-sized city called Allentown, how across the globe, like this model that we use. And I'm sitting there talking to Aisha. Yesterday I'm talking to my Uncle Al. You know, I spent time with Dr. Orr. Dr. O has come to Pennsylvania and trained our team. The whole city loves her. She's from Chicago. She's also from Allentown. She doesn't realize that. She's from Philly. She's with us. People ask about her every day. There's nothing I can teach Dr. O about caring for her community, about the work she does on the West Side, right? I'm sitting there with Aisha, who I've met before. Root to Fruit, is it called?
Yes.
I see the heads nod. Raise your hand if you know of Root to Fruit. That's the West Side. And there are 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people in this community doing this work every day. You know who they are. We know who the people that are doing the work are. Why are they not funded?
Right.
Why are they not funded? So we're going to talk about tri-sector leadership. And what that means is the grassroots that are doing the work, the way that we approach it, have to lead the work. The corporate partners support it and are at the table with them. And the government is there, sharing resources, building community, but most importantly, people have been willing to relinquish power to the people that have relationships with their communities. They have taken, and again, she just happened to sit next to me. I could have sat at any table next to any of you. You could have told me about it, right? They have taken a 1-mile radius, right? And decreased violence by 50%. Shootings by 50%. And this is just what I happen to sit next to. I could have sat next to anyone in this room that is doing this work, that has been doing it for generations, for decades, for years, and they could have said, within the space that I hold, hyper-local, these are the outcomes that I've had. I just asked a couple of questions. One murder, right? We talk about Chicago. You know what the world says about Chicago? He said that the best place ever. That's right.
Chicago, my type of home.
Told me how to do
Mercantville,
this.
you in?
So yesterday we had the building with the mayor at this beautiful art gallery. The commissioner doing this, you know what I'm saying? The commissioner thought we had this beautiful she was sitting next to me. I'm like, you making me feel short, you know? And they introduced me to the pastor. They're like, I want you to meet Pastor Phil. This brother's doing his work. So let's take a picture together. And the brother said like this. So they got the commissioner, the pastor, the deputy, the lieutenant, repping West Side, and I'm in the right place. Dr. O has driven me around the city multiple times, and all of this is about love, man. So we want to figure this out, man. How do we get the resources in the hands of the people that are doing it? I'm gonna show you this film. I live in a place called Allentown, Pennsylvania. The brother shared on Fulbright. What that means is I go across the globe and we teach community, we teach health systems, how to relinquish power, how to listen to the voice of the engaged community, and how to get out of the way. How to make sure the dollars flow to the Aishas who's working in the community where, as she's telling me her story, what was the young man's mother's name? What was the young man's name? As she's telling me her story, a young lady runs up to her and says, I'm Kenton's mom. He said, make sure that I come talk to you, this and that. He's going to Howard. He had to stay home with his brother. Like, the mom was so excited. As she's telling me the story about her work. Did you stage yet? I mean, they just met. And then when Kenton was talking to the brother came up, was like, I used to thank you for all you do, it's good to see you. Like, how do we make sure the dollars get to the hands of all the people at the table that do this work? So we're gonna show this video, right? It's about 9 minutes, so bear with me, and then we're gonna talk after that. And I'm like, damn, I can see the system of plumbing in this city. Because they didn't have projectors, and they didn't have it was like, and everybody worked together to make this happen. You can start the video.
The gun is the #1 killer of children in America under the age of 18. But we know that it's not a conversation about guns.
The murder of a former pro boxer, gunned down in front of his own home.
It's even harder when the kids are constantly like the small ones that don't understand that daddy won't be back, and they constantly ask for him. That's what hurts.
Started my brother beginning to him, being a positive impact in our community. He helped things get involved with the youth. He was looking to start up his own boxing program. January 4th, 2019, he was murdered, coming home from work. From my brother's murder, I felt a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, a lot of confusion. My brother told me a lot of what it takes to be a man, and I was only 17 at the time, so I wasn't sure how I'd be able to move forward and become a man.
Promise Neighborhoods of Lehigh Valley is a black-led, anti-racist, woman-centered, liberation-based grassroots organization that is focused on healing and wellness. And we do that through leadership development, violence prevention and reentry, racial justice and health equity, and community capacity building. And essentially, Promise Neighborhoods is really about how do we lift the voices of the people within the community that have the most intimate solutions to the issues that plague our lives and are often most ignored. How do we empower the folks at the community level to really be the ones that drive the solutions, that have access to resources, and that are able to work together to change our own lives?
Is a strong member of the community of the city of Allentown. I got to know Dr. Batts 3 years ago in July of 2020 and have an open dialogue about what it looks like to relinquish power, give up control. It's actually pretty liberating. Instead of saying that your job as a government is to solve all of the problems that face you, to know that you can't do it by yourself, and that in order to accomplish some of that work, you need to give some power to your collaborators.
Promise Neighborhoods is a game-changing organization that is focused on authentic engagement with people at the community level who can identify and tell us what the true needs are of the community and what the assets and opportunities are. And so an organization like United Way is better because of our partnership with Promise Neighborhoods. I work closely with community partners to activate our purpose and support the most vulnerable populations where we have a branch program. Every once in a while, we will come across organizations like Promise Neighborhoods where their mission aligns with our mission, and then boom, the magic happens, and we try to figure out how to deepen it. I can tell you that through the course of our relationship, I've had the opportunity to have intimate conversations with some of his leadership team. And hearing how they turn their trauma into triumph has probably been the most inspiring thing that I've witnessed.
When I was coming up, I didn't exist. There weren't individuals or organizations that believed in me, that looked at me. I mean, my mother knew that I was special. She told me I was brilliant, I was beautiful, that I could change the world. But I went to school, the teachers told me I'd die of poop my own blood, that I was the worst thing my mom and community ever had. So I believe that we need people that are willing to pour into us and see the best in us. So when I look at every individual in this community, I see something special in them, and I remind them of that. We all know now that every child needs that one caring adult. I believe that every adult needs that one caring adult, and that every child and every adult needs that one caring agency, like that really sees the potential in them, and not only creates opportunity, but that fights to remove the barriers that exist. Because people are failing, because systems are crushing.
We want you to understand the leading killer of children in our community is gun violence.
My brother was 25 years old when he was killed. The impact that my brother's murder had on my family, it took everybody down. My brother was the glue of our family. He's what held us together, what lifted us up. So not having that glue anymore, we had to, figure out that environment and figure out how to move on. So that's when PNW came into our lives, gave my family a sense that, things are gonna be okay, and that we were able to move forward. They offered my family therapy sessions and counseling to help us get through the grief that we were going through. That helped me personally because I was able to find motivation and wanting to go to boot camp still and wanting to get back into school, and they shot me through my senior year of high school. 2022, I returned to PNW, and as a member of the Promise Corps, we learned outdoor stewardship, we learned how to maintain trails, learn how to farm, learn how to grow, learn how to produce, and was able to get that back to the community. From there, I transitioned into a violence interrupter, where I returned back into the community, doing surveys, as well as responding to acts of violence. After being the violence interrupter for some time, Promise neighborhood set up interviews with Allentown School District. I hopped on an opportunity as a chance to grow and further my career.
A lot of it is recognizing that we don't always know the best way. That it's often the case that our neighborhoods and our residents and our community partners who have feet on the ground may have better insight into what might be needed in their neighborhood to truly make lasting change.
Which is what's unique about this relationship, in that as a donor or funder, you typically would see us imposing on them, but they are imprinting and influencing the way that we do our work in the community. And so it's a very reciprocal relationship. What I am especially impressed with is its leadership. What I love most about them is because they have those authentic experiences, the community trusts them. When you ask Promise Neighborhood to show up, they show up. It's almost like a rainstorm in a good way. You'll see a little bit of orange, another little drop of orange. By the time it is done, you see a sea of orange. Everyone is there, they're happy, they're wanting to support, and you feel like family. Like, I feel like that's my family. And I think as corporations, when we start to humanize these relationships, really get to know who we're supporting, who we're talking with, that's what we're gonna do to change things. They're not clients, they're not just partners. This is a brain trust. We're changing lives this way, and I feel comfortable doing it because I know who I'm working with. The community voices matter, but only when you invest in making them authentic, and I think that's what we've done with Promise
After some time as a paraprofessional, I was on a position as a security guard. I took it that I could move up and be able to support my family. As a security guard, I got to interact with youth every day, help them understand that life is more to life than being a bad kid or whatever title that is. It's more to life. I was a security guard for a while. I've been offered a position as the athletic director at Rock Middle School. I've been athletic director at Rock Middle School for about the past month and a half now, and that's going to continue to grow. So we'll continue
me the work I do. He taught me how to be a man, and you know, every one lesson he taught me, like, I carried with me. I just try to be the man that, you know, I looked up to, which was him.
The son has a dream and a vision that is bigger than this entire community, and I think he naturally pulls people into that dream and vision. You can't help but want to be a part of it.
When I came home from prison and I was looking at my next move, my mother said to me, Allentown is the city that you want, and Allentown is the city that you need to prepare.
So why is a guy from Allentown, Pennsylvania, standing here in Chicago, right? Again, there's nothing we can teach you about violence prevention, because guess what we learned about violence prevention models from? Chicago. The whole world is coming here to learn, right? You got a menu of different institutions. We come here to learn the models. So there's nothing I can teach you about stopping violence in your community. With all the violence you have, I would say it's because you don't listen to the people that have the solutions. That's what it is. I mean, and people say, oh, you're not talking about accountability. What about the guys pulling the triggers? We know they need to be held accountable for what they're doing, the decisions that they're making. But our work is centered, and I you just told me that. You said you sat down. I said, how did you achieve those outcomes? You said, I sat down and I listened to the children. Our work is centered in curiosity. Our work is centered in like this idea of we are here to learn from the people that are living in those spaces every day, need to be leading. And the other part of it is, where are the corporate partners, where are the government partners, and how do you show up, and how do we partner, right? And I'm not, so you see the mayor sitting there, and Allentown is not a small, hold-up town, right? It's not Philly, you got Philly, Pittsburgh, Allentown. So it's the third largest city in Pennsylvania. And when we talk about the outcomes, prior to us doing this work, we had over a dozen kids in one community that were being murdered. And we started what we called it Zero Youth Violence, right? Because we know how to be bold. Dr. O knows how to be bold, Alex knows how to be bold, Aisha knows how to be bold, the list goes on. We said no children under the age of 25 will be killed in our community. Place-based, same thing we tell them. The communities that we can control, we got people in the community that can control it. And fast forward 4 years, G? 4 years, we've had one child murdered, a 15-year-old was murdered by a 16-year-old in the park, Trayshawn Tracy, over a bag of potato chips. And that's in the last 2 years. So we went from dozens of kids being murdered to one child being murdered. And that's because we have a group called Mother to Mother, where mothers show up to every crime scene, right? This happens in other places across the country. But what we also have, what we also need, if I created a room like this, I don't have to fill out a grant application to get funding. I can pick up the phone, call Truist Bank, and say, we need $20,000 to make this event happen, to bring people together, to make sure that we can do something in the next 12 months. And in all of Lisa's work, all of her reputation, she was not able to do that. She was not able to pull the funding into the room. So how do we do that? How do we build partnerships that are centered on trust where the money follows? You guys follow me? Mm-hmm. Because it takes money to do this work. It takes support to do this work. It takes partnership to do this work. And the partnership is not only photo ops. We need the photo ops.
Say it again.
That's not full partnership. The partnership is not only photo ops. We need the photo ops. Don't get me wrong, because that's how we leverage national funders. But we need the letters of support. We need the seed funding. We need the universities to show up for free and to provide graduate students. All the while recognizing that the resources and the strength stay with the context experts. So we have the content experts. These are the people with the degrees, the letters behind their name, they studied it, they printed the books, right? They bring value. I'm not saying, one thing I'll tell you, and I keep using this example, you sit next to me, you give me that auntie look, right? That little cousin look. You can't do it alone. Lieutenant Harris can't do it alone. So the community can't do it alone, or would have been done. But Rush can't do it alone either.
Right.
Rush can only patch kids up. They need us to stop the flow of bullets. And we need support, we need funding to do that. How did we get here? And just to give you some context and numbers, what we're talking about, right? Well, I'll give you the latest. We got, they have something in Pennsylvania called PCCD. You guys have something similar in Chicago. Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. So you know that money flows from the feds. They say, well, we're going to put, the president stands up on stage, and he says, I'm going to put, what was it? 600 million maybe towards the or he put 600 million towards gun violence. We know that's not enough. $600 million is going to go towards gun violence. And we're saying, so when I talk about tri-sector leadership and these partnerships with the community, we need to be sitting there driving where the dollars go. We're saying that needs to go into the hands of grassroots organizations. When we talk about crime savings, you heard in the video, we said Black-led, anti-racist, women-centered, liberation-based grassroots organizations. When we follow the funding, are the Black-led organizations being funded in the west side of Chicago? Not at all.
You want a hand now? You want just no?
So when they say hundreds of millions of dollars are going towards gun violence, who is dying in the west side of Chicago?
Everybody.
So who should be making the decisions?
Blacks and Latinos.
Right? So how do we recenter that, the decision making with the context experts, the people that live in our communities every day, is what we're here to talk about. So the last round of funding they gave out, and I'm gonna tell you where we're at, and then we'll go back to how we got it, because Dr. O ain't gonna be no signals yet, so let me just keep talking. Mama Beth used to say, just keep on swimming, right? The last round of funding they gave out, we got the largest grant in the state, 1.5 million. We partnered with the health system prior to that, tobacco law, with the largest employer in our community is health system, with Eds and Vets, right? That's what most Americans is, Eds and Vets. So we got about 11 universities, largest top two employers are health systems. So early on, so now I'm talking to the grassroots organizations, right? You can't just go from a $10,000 grant to a $1.5 million grant. You can't just go, you can't just jump in, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna mess it up. And then they're gonna say, we did it. We gave, you know? And we also say, I'm not talking about getting ring people $1.5 million. Like, you gotta have some skills, you gotta have some infrastructure. And we did the work, and we showed up, and we were able to drive, you know, the way the money was dispersed. And then it led to another one, until we begin to get these grants on our own, right? How do we do this? Again, I can't beat this whole up. It's relinquishing power. The decision makers. We're the decision makers. We're the corporate partners. So at least, and I had a conversation, and she said it couldn't happen. I said, you can make this happen. At least miss my session. She called me and said, I missed, what's your son's name, Joshua? She turned around for that, she know that name. I had a Black mother call me. She missed the session that night, and I came out here and provided a training for the leadership cohort. She said, I heard that I needed to be there. And she had the sound of her voice. I'm going to do anything I need to do. I love my son. At least I'm going to fly to Pennsylvania. I mean, you're not in here. You guys know. I'm standing here because of a Black mother.
All right.
That's the only reason I'm standing here.
That's right.
I was born into a world that hated me. And you guys understand what that means. And what did that hate teach me? To hate myself. Right? So we can read off all those accolades, right? But I was left back in kindergarten. I was left back in 7th grade, spent 3 years in the 9th grade, was pushed out of high school and prison. Like, that's fine, but my mother loved me through all of it.
Right.
All the mothers that love their children.
Sure.
Right? So at least call me with that sound of her voice that my mother had. When she moved her children out of Brooklyn, I'm from Brooklyn, New York originally. We're talking Brooklyn in the 80s. You guys understand what I mean when I say that. You know, she moved her sons out of Brooklyn. She set up big communities to live. And at least call me with that sound of her voice. You know, and we talk weekly. And I said, we need to pull some people together. And it can't just be a one-time Kumbaya, Feel Good. You gotta have a year-long, multi-year, multi-generational plan that you put together that is tri-sector, that is cross-collaborative, it includes education, it includes healthcare, it includes like all the big players. You know who they are, they need to show up. And they need to sign up. Like the brother said, pull out your phones. They need to say, we are here. They need to have skin in the game. And she put something together last night that's beautiful. What's the name of the art gallery? 345 Art Gallery, man. It was amazing. She had the mayor show up. So we know she got the juice. She got a room full of people.
I got the juice. Yeah, you did.
You got the juice, right?
Okay, I got the juice.
She made it happen. So where are the corporate partners? Where the healthcare? Where my healthcare people at? All right, we got any VPs in the room? Directors? There we go. Welcome. What's your name? Carissa. Show Carissa some love. Show them the first step. And Carissa looked at me like I'm always in the room. So we got healthcare in the room. Where's who are the biggest employers out there? Amazon's a big one, Russia's a big one. Google, where's Google at? Google in the building?
No.
So we got a room full of uncles and aunties.
Not even.
And we said we're gonna income bonds in the West Side. So we got the hyperlocal, we got the people that know, that have the plan, but the money's not following. There's a microphone I have. Y'all tell me why is the money not following? Why does she have 200, 300 people in this room and she doesn't have the people holding the purses? Somebody answer that question for me.
You ain't twisting your arm right.
There's some microphones out there, right?
Called twisting all arm.
I'm asking questions, Dr. O. Dr. O's a Boston Pro, right? She's in my house and she be doing that. She come to Allentown and she's like, 10 minutes, we gotta go. Why? And you've thought about this, right? Don't act like some dude from Allentown just came and asked you this question. You've thought about this. Why is the money not flowing to your community? Damn, somebody said you're black. Straight to the chase. We need help here. Local people hold the answers. Why are the people that hold the purse strings not here?
Hello everyone, Tiffany from Healthcare Alternative Systems. I don't think the money's in the room because it's not a priority for them, and it's not on the top of the list of social responsibility efforts.
Thank you. So Tiffany's talking about corporate responsibility, social responsibility efforts, right?
Yeah.
It is in their best interest to contribute, but they're not here.
Money is not in the room because if they really wanted to, if violence really was a priority to end, a lot of people would be out of a job. Crime pays, especially in black communities. So if we're being completely honest, the flow of this continuing is keeping people rich. So they're not trying to fund us to end the trauma and the violence in our communities. That's why they're not here.
Poverty is functional, crime is functional, violence is functional. We in Pennsylvania, I think there's 35 prisons, right? And you guys know the story that they closed schools and when they built more prisons. So they were talking about closing this prison in one of these towns in the middle of nowhere. Anyone that's been in prison, they like to send us out to these countries, these counties with no black folks, where our families can't have access to us. They were talking about closing a prison in this town called Frankfurt. Those people showed up in droves. Because what happens if that prison closes? They out of jobs. They wrote their Congress people, they was with their state reps, their state senators, they showed up by the thousands. And the state turned around and closed the prison in Pittsburgh. So a prison that was in the city, where people were close to their families, ends up getting closed because of exactly what you said, because the jobs cannot be taken from those communities, old coal mining communities. So there's nothing else they can do. They don't have to transition their skills. Yes, ma'am.
I also, I'm really just building on what's already been said, but also I think the one comment about it, especially black. I feel like a lot of this stuff is built on like black people and us being forced to be at the about them. I feel like when you talk about like getting money from corporations like Google has money in the prison system. Google has money in not necessarily like police who actually like are in policing, who like care about people, who like trying to like do that. They have money in keeping policing to keep us down because like that provides them cheap labor, that provides them products. Like we even look at like a Johnson & Johnson, they get prison labor. So like they don't actually want to see breakthrough. They don't actually want to see all this stuff funded to the point where it's going to actually end the violence because that ends their money. Their interests, I feel like, are in keeping us in these positions and maintaining a system that has got them in power for so long.
Thank you. So I mentioned that, right? Now for us to stay here. Give him the applause. We know the narratives that are carried throughout our community. I didn't mention that for us to stay here. I mentioned that to get it out on the table so we can get that out of our system and we can start talking about solutions. Because part of the issue is they're not in the room because we're not working together. And they're also not in the room because we're not making radical arguments. So how do we get to work together, right? So we transition. We know how to blame them. We're done doing that. We know how to blame them. We don't attack the mayor. We don't attack the governor. We don't attack Truist. We don't attack the billionaire developers in our community. We don't attack each other. How do we work together? Let's transition our minds and start to talk about solutions. Because sometimes they're afraid to come in the room because we don't create a safe space. There's something called compassion for the oppressor that pisses people off. We are not going to destroy these systems overnight. We have to hospice them and we have to work together to create systems that work. How do we do that? Who in the room is a solution person? Oh, I'm in the right room.
So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Here goes Dr. O again. Solutions. We only talk about solutions. How do we work together? Not what we're not doing, not what the problem is. We're done studying the problem. We want to talk about the solutions.
Hello everyone, my name is Corinne Barnes. One of the current solutions that I am currently incorporating are individuals who have the same lived experience, and instead of changing their mission to change the grant deliverable, they're collaborating with other individuals and meeting in the middle and staying actually in their roles with the overall goal to work together. So the solution is to find like-minded individuals who are not just looking at the finances and opening the doors for the structure to get the type of funding. There's a lot of grassroots organizations that have great missions, but they don't have the correct structures, the policies, and procedures in place, and it doesn't align them to get that type of funding. So the biggest thing is just until other Black organizations are willing to work with other Black organizations by staying in your role and following your exact mission that you started with, I feel like that collaboration will help a lot better for a solution.
You just knocked it out the park. Thank you. She just gave us a solution. We have to work together. We have to work together because we are.
I got old medicine.
Listen, I want to try to do this yesterday. I'm on the west side of Chicago.
West side.
We're going to try west side. We're going to try this again. I got it wrong. I got it
Right there.
we got a teacher in the building, right? And she's snapping pics. Because we are
Our own medicine.
we are our own medicine. We hold the solutions, right? We have to stop holding problems. We have to stop holding problems. We have to start holding. Tell me your name again.
Corinne Barnes.
Corinne Barnes just put out a solution. I see the brother say, oh, that's Uncle Al back there. What's good, bro? Uncle Al told me yesterday, man, this dude is a genius. I don't know if he knows it. I don't know if the community, and I just that's like, I don't know if the community affirms it. This man told me yesterday, he's developed a model and said, this is your brain on guns. There you go right there. There you go right there. This is your brain on guns. And he broke it down to me, right? Because we now understand that our youth brains are fully developed from the 25 years old. They're letting lifers out. Juvenile lifers are getting out of prison. I had a cellie 44 years in. The nicest, sweetest, safest dude that you would ever know. If he moved next door to me, I would celebrate.
Yeah.
Beautiful human being. This dude was in there for forever and a day. But Brother Al knows his brain wasn't fully developed. It's dreams develop under this type of fund. Why am I speaking for you to stand there with a microphone? Hey, I'm gonna be real quick. If we gonna be our own medicine, we gotta be our own funder. Until we do that, we gonna create the problem. Our own funder? We gotta be our own funder. One day. I would never look for someone who oppressed my ancestors to change my trauma. It don't work like that. So there are solutions that come out of Chicago that have said for decades in our community, do for self, right? Right, you gotta do for self. You gotta do for self. So when they read my Bible and say he's a philanthropist, what does that mean? That means that I give to these organizations to make sure that I can control the decision making that exists. And that's what you're saying, right? And so, like I tell my niece, we got to be our own change. Anybody fond of me on this Brain No Drugs behavior change campaign, I come out of my own pocket. And I go out and I train who really want to know the science of why we shoot. We can say stop shooting, but until they understand the brain and why they shoot inside of our brain, and that gun is a part of each man's father, we're going to keep creating this problem. And I just think that's something that a lot of us that's not from here, not aware of. I have 7 nephews that have been shot. I have 7 nephews that have been murdered. My sons have been shot multiple times. I have lost 12 young men in my family, in our band program, to the gun. And nobody ever told them that their brain was on the gun. And just recently, me and my partner, we was inside of a school. A 5-year-old young man built a gun from the Legos, aimed at a young lady and did like this. I said, that baby brain no guns. And so rather than not addressing this issue, maybe because they didn't come up with the idea, and that's the problem. So part of the solution, again, right, is for us to listen to the ideas that are organically exist and come up in our community. Yes, ma'am. Now, you know Sister Revolutionary, she's about to hit you with something.
My name is Shana Hancock, I'm from the South Side of Chicago.
Okay. Let's do that again, right? We got this concept called radical movement. We talk about belonging, right? She just stood here in the West Side, set up from the South Side, and y'all showed her a level of love that was beautiful. Can we show that love again?
That's a day off the chain on the South Side.
And your baby on the South Side is just as important as my baby on the West Side.
So, a solution for myself would be every single person in this room has a story. Every single person in this room has been through something. So to add to our solution, we should take those band-aids off and voice what we've been through, to let that hurt and that pain out, to make others want to come in and help. But that help has to start with from within. That help has to come from down inside of you. Like I said, taking that band-aid off, putting yourself out there, speaking on the trauma or the hurt or the pain you've experienced. I've been shot last year in my chest and in my back. Through the grace of God, I'm still here. And I'm still take off these band-aids and these blinders and let them know, let them inside, let them know what we go through every day as a civilization, as a people. And that solution, like I said, it starts from within and us wanting more from out.
Tells us all the time, you're going to actually hear from one of the mothers that one life lost is one too many. One life lost is one too many. All of our babies and our adults, you said you just got shot last year, one life lost is one too many. The time, again, this idea, how do we scale up all the work that's happening within the grassroots here? How do we scale it up, right? So there's this idea, who do we need to do, right? We need to look at ourselves, and are we practicing curiosity of not only listening to the youth, but how are we learning? We live in a community where mentorship and apprenticeship kind of has been dead. We used to study under the blacksmith, under the, my wife is a master gardener. She became a master gardener by studying under master gardeners, right? Like, we think we can read and learn things in a book or just learn them as we go and scale up. You are not going to scale up your organization without support, without mentorship, without partnership. Like, collaboration is real, so we got to collaborate with each other. But also, we don't just need the funding in terms of money. We need the funding in terms of programs like the leadership program that you guys are making. Like, how do we bring people into spaces where they get exposure? How do we get sponsors? So mentor sponsors and coaches. The sponsors are the ones that are saying your name when you're not in the room. That are talking about the work that you do when you're not in the room. How do we intentionally build those relationships? You got one more for us, Dr. Hall? No. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. No. I heard no.
Yeah, it's a no.
At least put the show together. Thank you. So how do we do that? And who do we get to invest in the infrastructure of scaling up these organizations? The brother said we have to fund our agency. So when we say we are,
Our medicine.
medicine costs.
Yep.
Medicine costs. It costs time, it costs talent, and it costs treasures. And it's not that we're not accustomed to coming out of our pockets, but how do we come out of our pockets and support our own? How do we commit to developing the skills that we need to make sure that we can run an organization at the scale that catches up with our dreams? Everybody wants to build them like crazy. What are the operational costs to run this building? This ain't easy. How many hours you work, sister? Right? So how do we develop the skills? And we're not talking about like the textbook credentials, right? We're talking about practical, everyday skills that can keep this that can keep the dreams that we have going. So we'll end with this. Dream big. Some of us are terrified to dream. Who's willing to dream big? Who's willing to dream bigger than you ever thought was possible, right? The system told me, this should go right there. The system told me that no children within a 1-mile radius were going to be killed in her community. And she was going to do everything in her potential to make that happen. And we're talking about in Chicago. If my mother was alive, she might be scared about me being here right now. She won't be scared. She won't be scared. Dream big, dream bigger than you ever thought was imagined for our children. I got 40 seconds. She coming on the stage. The second one is, you are not alone. You are not alone. So we're talking about self-care. We're also talking about the lone wolf is the valley. You can't do this work by yourself. You're going to need a community. You're going to need a tribe. You're going to need rest. You're going to need proper nutrition, right? Like, you know all the things that you need. You're going to need to breathe. That's the second one. And the third one is, when we say we are, we're talking about in here and out there. Right? So you got to practice what we call presumed love. This is how you get in the room. It's called presumed love. You have to know that there's something you bring that they need in that space, even when they don't know it. And you got to continue to show up. You got to continue to make the calls. And you got to do it with compassion, but to be firm. Thank you. That's my time.
got you. I got you. I'm sending out this.
Oh, excuse me.